Hello everyone. Today we will discuss a very interesting and quite rare topic that we get to see, which is called as androgen insensitivity syndrome. Androgen. Now what are androgens? Androgens are basically a group of steroidal hormones present in our body. And most common example that we have, that is our testosterone, which is present in abundant in the male body, right? And what do you mean by insensitivity? Insensitivity means the body cannot sense it. There are cells in our body which have specific receptors. We all know that different substances have different receptors and there are different mechanisms proposed for them. So androgen insensitivity means the body can't sense it. And then we have a word called syndrome. That means there will be groups of symptoms associated, many symptoms will be there, and those will together affect an individual. Now we have to understand that how and what is this and how is this happening, right? So let's go back where we see the zygote formation. Now when the zygote has been formed, already the genotype of that organism has been determined. Like if it is a male body, it's a male body 44 plus XY. If it is a female body, it will be 44 plus XX. We all know this. Now this is an abnormal condition and it's quite rare also. That is means you will get to see very rare case regarding this. So here we see 44 plus XY. Now let us go to the development. A normal, what happens actually, the physiological development. Let's see that 44 plus XY. So during the 4th week intrauterine life, during that point of time, the Y chromosome that is present, okay, that Y chromosome starts expressing itself and we get to see the SRY gene present there. Okay, SRY gene present on the Y chromosome, and this SRY gene, when it is been transcribed and translated, then we get to see the testis determining factor. Testis determining factor. So here we will just see an overall a small outlook of what actually happens. I am not going into the detailed development of the testis or how the testis is descending from the abdominal region, from the retroperitoneal lumbar abdominal region via the inguinal canal into the scrotum. I am not going into extra details. I am just giving an overview, gross idea. So testis determining factor, when it's present, there are gonadal ridges that are formed. Now what are gonadal ridges? Details I am not going into, but we see that mesoderm. When we get to see mesoderm during embryonic development, there are 3 types of mesoderm. One is just on side of the axis, main axis, we get to see the paraxial mesoderm. Then we have the intermediate mesoderm, and then we get to see the lateral plate mesoderm. So mostly our genitourinary system is derived from that intermediate mesoderm. Okay, now how these gonadal ridges are formed and all, I am not going into details, but see, gonadal ridges are formed and there are the primary sex cords also. So these will get differentiated under the influence of testis determining factor. This will get differentiated and the testis will be formed, and this will be of course a retroperitoneal structure. It will be present in our lumbar region. Okay, and there will be certain fibers that will develop, certain structures that will develop which will guide this testis, because normally in the body the testis cannot stay. We all know that inside our body the temperature is higher compared to outside normal temperatures. So that's why our testis have to descend, or else there will be no sperm production, because we know that sperm requires some temperature like 2 to 2.5 or 3 degrees Celsius lower temperature than the body temperature to actually for spermatogenesis. So here we see retroperitoneal structure in the lumbar region, that is testis, and after that there is a structure called as gubernaculum. This gubernaculum will actually guide the testis through that entire abdominal region. Via first it will enter the deep inguinal ring, from that it will pass on to the superficial inguinal ring, and ultimately it will get into the scrotal sac. Now see, this happens somewhere around, means that entire descent, it actually takes the entire gestation period, and just after birth or just prior to birth or at birth only the testis gets descended to the scrotum. Okay. Now see, what is this androgen insensitivity syndrome? If this is an abnormality, as I have already mentioned, what is this actual abnormality occurring? For that we have to understand that when testis is there, this testis, inside the testis there will be seminiferous tubule formation, as well as there will be Sertoli cells. So these Sertoli cells which are present are the Nernst cells or the sustentacular cells. These cells are certain columnar cells present, and these are there for actually providing the nourishment to the germinal epithelium, which is cuboidal in nature. So Sertoli cells will actually release anti-Mullerian hormone or Mullerian inhibiting substance. Now what is this? For that we need to know something. One is your mesonephric duct and one is your paramesonephric duct. Mesonephric duct is called as the Wolffian duct. Mesonephric duct is actually called as the Wolffian duct. Okay. And something we call as the paramesonephric duct. Paramesonephric duct is actually called as Mullerian duct. Okay. Now see, when the body is formed, at that point of time the general tendency of the body is to form the female body, because if this Y chromosome is actually from that the genetic and the gene part SRY gene is not expressed, then there will be no formation of testis. Okay, and if testis is not formed, then there will be no testosterone production. Testosterone is very essential because testosterone gets converted into dihydrotestosterone. Testosterone gets converted into dihydrotestosterone in the presence of an enzyme 5-alpha reductase, and this dihydrotestosterone is responsible for external male genitalia formation. Here we see also in the Sertoli cells this anti-Mullerian hormone is there, and this paramesonephric duct which was present, or the Mullerian duct, which is actually there from the female body. So in normal males what will happen, this anti-Mullerian hormone will actually suppress the paramesonephric duct formation, so that there will be no female external genitalia formation. Okay, the female genitalia and mainly the female genitalia will actually not be formed if there is suppression of this paramesonephric duct, which actually happens normally. Now what is this androgen insensitivity syndrome? Let's see. This can be categorized two types. One is complete, one is partial or mild. Here we will be discussing the complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, and here we can see that what are the clinical features that we will get over here. Now I will say why is this happening. Let's see. External female genitalia will be formed. Now you will say that why is the external female genitalia formed? Because see, in this case what will happen, I will tell you one thing, that one condition is there that is called as cryptorchidism. What is cryptorchidism? Here we see that the testis actually cannot descend properly to the inguinal region. Via the inguinal region it will not go into the scrotum even after birth. So in that case the testis remains somewhere stuck in the inguinal canal, and that can cause problem. Okay, if that testis is there and if it continues to be there, that can also develop malignancy. Okay, there will be no sperm production. So basically what will happen, you have to understand this, that when cryptorchidism is there, suppose testis has not descended, so there will be no testis during birth, and already you know that before birth only testosterone is produced. But testosterone also it gets converted into dihydrotestosterone, because suppose the enzyme 5-alpha reductase is there. So dihydrotestosterone, now see, I am telling you androgen insensitivity syndrome. That means now dihydrotestosterone will not be sensed by the body. That is those cells which had the receptor, so there will be no hormone receptor complex formation, and at the same time there will be no utilization of dihydrotestosterone. It will be produced but it will be of no use to the body. That means when dihydrotestosterone is present but it is not sensed by the body, that means there will be no external male genitalia formation. So here we can see that in that case, suppose there is a male, but that male, you know, that male is there, but you cannot differentiate because already the external female genitalia is formed. The external female genitalia is not formed from paramesonephric duct. Suppose that person has testis present, and inside the testis anti-Mullerian hormone is secreted. So that's why what will happen when anti-Mullerian hormone is secreted, so automatically you will find that cervix, uterus, these are not present. Ovary, the main difference was gonadal ridge will convert into ovary or testis. So of course TDF gene is TDF testis determining factor is expressed, and that will actually from gonadal rich testis will be formed. Okay, and testis will also produce testosterone, and it will get converted into dihydrotestosterone, but that will not be sensed by the body. Okay, and secondly, you have to understand that also testis is there in the body, but it has not descended to the scrotum. That means there will be condition of cryptorchidism, and also at the same point of time the anti-Mullerian hormone is also secreted. That means when anti-Mullerian hormone is secreted, there will be no, internally you can say that there will be, when this hormone is secreted, uterus, vagina, parts of the vagina, then we have the fallopian tube, fallopian duct, this will also not be formed. Okay, so these things are there. Then why is the breast normal? Now if say that in that history, if we take the history, we'll see that the person has normal breast. Now why breast normal formation is there? Because this dihydrotestosterone, when it is produced in excess amount in the body, and when it is not being utilized, it is not being sensed by the body, then dihydrotestosterone gets converted into estrogen. Okay, and this estrogen will produce the secondary sexual character. Now secondary sexual character, under that you also get to see the external female genitalia. Also breast development is seen. Breast development is the first sign that a person attains a puberty. But as there will be absence of the ovary, so you cannot get to see menarche will not be there, so that means automatically no menstruation is there. So in this case, what we will find is a very typical or rare case that person psychologically from the person's birth, the person is treated as a girl child, because the external genitalia is formed, the excess dihydrotestosterone converted into estrogen, and that's why you will see labia majora, minora, certain clitoris opening, and the vagina which is formed. Until examination, it will not be revealed that the vagina is a blind sac. In this case, it will not be that proper vaginal tube, vaginal canal, and it will go via the cervix into the uterus. No, that will not be formed, because cervix, parts of the uterus and all these are mainly formed from the paramesonephric duct. But as I've already told you that paramesonephric duct will get suppressed by anti-Mullerian hormone. So anti-Mullerian hormone will actually suppress this, so there will not be formed. Internally there will be no female genitalia, but external genitalia will be formed under influence of estrogen to some extent, but that will also be not so proper. Okay, so this is a case where estrogen is giving secondary sexual characters. The pubic hair, axillary hair will not be there automatically, because androgen is not sensed, and you know that even in the female body androgen is required, but androgen is only not sensed, so there will be no hair also in the body. The hair that is present in the head, that will also be very little. That also you have to understand, that hair on the head, that will also be very little because of this insensitivity. Then there will be clitoromegaly or labial fusion will be absent, because clitoris will not be properly formed. Only in the external genitalia clitoris will not be formed, so there is no chance of clitoromegaly, that is overexpression of the cells over there in the clitoris. So you can understand that psychologically that person is brought up as a girl child, but genotypically that person has male XY. Okay, that person is a male because that person has X and Y chromosome. Y chromosome is present, but phenotypically that person is female. So you can understand that this type of case which I have discussed just now, there is such a rare case, and when it's a rare case, that means you have to understand the psychological disturbance also of that patient. Because that patient, when the patient is normally okay, the patient knows from very childhood that suppose that person knows that I am a girl, so she is raised up as a girl and everything surrounding her, and she is actually treated as a girl, so automatically she will have no problem. But when she will come to know, that person will come to know that that person is a boy, actually genotypically that person is a boy, so you can imagine the psychological problems that the person will go through. Of course, because that person thought that person was a girl, but now that person knows that, because automatically when there will be no menarche, so there will be a case of amenorrhea, and when amenorrhea will continue, so that will give some suspicion that if that person crossed puberty, but still that person is not actually getting to see the onset of menstruation, that is menarche is not coming, so there must be some internal problem, and until further examination will be done, USG and all types of examination will be done, and this will be revealed. And see, you can see that this is such a typical case, quite rare case, but this is also not, that is, it's not impossible. It can happen when dihydrotestosterone is not being sensed. At times 5 alpha reductase deficiency can also be there. That time also dihydrotestosterone will not be formed, and that can result, that is, the male genitals will be formed, but might be they will be very much reduced in their size. Like there can be cases of micropenis or hypospadiasis. Like this, different clinical conditions will occur. That person will not have proper external genitalia development, but testis will be there because TDF gene was there, TDF testosterone factor SRY gene was there, and also this anti-Mullerian hormone was secreted. So there can be different cases, but one of the most important cases is this one, complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, and one is a partial one. So in partial one, certain things will be absent and present. So I will not discuss this. Today we will discuss only this much, that is complete androgen insensitivity syndrome. Now, any further process can be done. I want to say that suppose that person thought to be that person knows that she is a girl, so that person might marry, and then if these things get revealed, then you can understand that will give a psychological pressure on that couple, of course. And after that, what will happen, that they have to shift to some other methods, like if they want to take a child, they have to adopt or go for surrogacy and things like that. So that is a different story. But if this thing is revealed by puberty, suppose within 14 to 15 years of that person, if this is revealed, then that would be better for that person, because see, this is an as this testis will be there in the stuck in the inguinal region, inguinal canal, so automatically there can be chances of malignancy. So things could be avoided, okay, if these things are actually noted from the very previous, that is from the beginning only. If these things are happening, then this should be noted in that sequence. Okay, so thank you. This was my topic. Thank you.